House statement: the spirit of sacrifice for sons fiery hailing from our minds is the loyalty factor for our spirit's redemption, towards which the Father has to recognize Son's breathtaking from our minds for our spirit's sanctification, for which he must replay at Son's breath lift by inhaling Son's breath of judgment, thus his kindling his fire, that his Father mind may not keep in his course our spirits. From where comes our spirit's ignorance against being loyal at Son's fiery hailing? Short answer: our lustful aspirations don't want to be disfigured until desolation for the sake of his breath. In Yeshua's own words, Luke 12, verses 49 until 53, 50, 56, and then 1 to 3. I came to throw fire on earth. I wish it were already kindled, but I have an immersion to be immersed with, and how distressed I am until it's accomplished. Do you think that I have come to give peace in the earth? I tell you no, but rather division. For from now on there will be 5 in one house, divided 3 against 2 and 2 against 3. They will be divided, for against son and son against father, mother against daughter, and daughter against her mother, mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. He said to the multitudes also, when you see a cloud rising from the west, immediately you say, a shower is coming, and so it happens. When a south wind blows, you say there will be a scorching heat, and it happens. You hypocrites, you know how to interpret the appearance of the earth and the sky, but how is it that you don't interpret this time? Meanwhile, when a multitude of many thousands had gathered together so much that they were trampled on each other, he began to tell his disciples, first of all, be aware of the yeast of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy, but there is nothing covered up that will not be relieved, nor hidden that will not be known. Therefore, whatever you have said in the darkness will be heard in the light. What you have spoken in the inner rooms will be proclaimed on the housetops. Sacrifice house statement were conclusion. Our aspirations make our spirit ignorant against being loyal to Son's fiery hailing, because they are already loyal to the lustful thoughts from our minds, for which we must disfigure those aspirations until desolation for the sake of his breath. Why our mighty decisions argues that our spirits may not inhale Son's breathtaking. Short answer: our mind is unreasonable towards Son's fiery hailing because her aspirational confidence doesn't want his truth lifting. In Yeshua's own words, Luke 12, verse 4 until 9. I tell you, my friends, don't be afraid of those who kill the body and after that have no more that they can do, but I will warn you whom you should fear. Fear him who, after he has killed, has the power to cast into Gehenna. Yes, I tell you, fear him. Aren't 5 sparrows sold for 2 Assyria coins? Not one of them is forgotten by God. But the very hairs of your head are all counted. Therefore, don't be afraid. You are of more value than many sparrows. I tell you, everyone who confesses me before men, the Son of Man will also confess before the angels of God. But he who denies me in the presence of men will be denied in the presence of God's angels. Yohanan 9, verse 35 until 41. Yeshua heard that they had thrown him out, and finding him, he said, "Do you believe in the Son of God?" He answered, "Who is he, Lord, that I may believe in him?" Yeshua said to him, "You have both seen him, and it is he who speaks with you." He said, "Lord, I believe," and he worshipped him. Yeshua said, "I came into this world for judgment, that those who don't see may see, and that those who see may become blind." For those of the Pharisees who were with him heard these things and said to him, "Are we also blind?" Yeshua said to them, "If you were blind, you would have no sin, but now you say, 'We see,' therefore your sin remains." Luke 12, verses 57 until 59, and then 8 to 10. Why don't you judge for yourself what is right? For when you are going with your adversary before the magistrate, try diligently on the way to be released from him, lest perhaps he drag you to the judge, and the judge deliver you to the officer, and the officer throw you into prison. I tell you, you will by no means get out of there until you have paid the very last penny. I tell you, everyone who confesses me before men, the Son of Man will also confess before the angels of God. But he who denies me in the presence of men will be denied in the presence of God's angels. Everyone who speaks a word against the Son of Man will be forgiven, but those who blaspheme against the Holy Spirit will not be forgiven. Sacrifice House Statement. By conclusion, our minds make our spirits unreasonable towards inhaling Sun's breathtaking, because she is already inhaling her aspirational confidence of her lustful challenging decisions, for which we must continue to renew our minds, that our spirits may be loyal towards Sun's truth lifting. How Sun's fiery hailing redeems our spirits from Father's coursings. Short answer: leading his fire by inhaling Sun's breath of truth, spirit exhaling until the cessation of our sinful decisions in his water of judgment. In Yeshua's own words, Yohanan 12, Yeshua verse 35 and 36, Yeshua therefore said to them, "Yet a little while the light is with you. Walk while you have the light, that darkness doesn't overtake you. He who walks in the darkness doesn't know where he is going. While you have the light, believe in the light, that you may become children of light." Yeshua said these things and departed and hid himself from them. Luke 12, verse 49 and 50. I came to throw fire on earth. I wish it were already kindled, but I have an immersion to be immersed with, and how distressed I am until it accomplished. Chapter 23, verse 46. Yeshua cried with a loud voice, said, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." Having said this, he breathed his last. Yohanan 19, verse 34. However, one of the soldiers pierced his side with a spear, and immediately blood and water came out. Matthew 26, verses 62 until 68. The high priest stood up and said to him, "Have you no answer? What is this that they testify against you?" But Yeshua stayed silent. The high priest answered him, I adjure you by the living God that you tell us whether you are the Messiah, the Son of God. Yeshua said to him, You have said so. Nevertheless, I tell you, after this you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of power and coming on the clouds of the sky. The high priest tore his clothing, saying, He has spoken blasphemy. Why do we need any more witnesses? Behold, now you have heard his blasphemy. What do you think? They answered, He is worthy of death. Then they spat in his face and beat him with their fists, and some slapped him, saying, Prophesy to us, you Messiah, who hit you? Sacrifice how statement how conclusion. His fire inhaling sustains our spirits with sun's water of judgment for those living in sinful decisions. Because she is the concretization of Son's loyalty to redeem our spirits from his Father's curses, for which he will let our spirits to live in regret if we don't inhale the water of Son's truth for his baptism. Sacrifice how main conclusion. Son's redeeming breath, through which he could have offered grace to his bride spirit, wouldn't judge her if she would have not disfigured his truth, for which he allowed her useless defamation. Without his water of judgment, her spirit is unreasonable at Son's lifting truth, thus losing his fire, for which her mind must be loyal regarding Son's breathtaking, for which he hailed Father's fire, through the loyalty towards Father's baptism, by exhaling his breath as the water of truth, for those who sanctify their spirits through his humbleness, and judgment for the others. Sacrifice general conclusion. Her deceitful craving that she kept in her mouth stopped her body to feel his bread of punishment, because her delusional desires that she kept in her heart stopped her soul to listen the wine of damnation. Her lustful aspirations that she kept on her mind stopped her spirit to understand his water of judgment. If her mouth gratification of trust would have not pierced Son's flesh to devour her own body, if her heart illusional peace would have not shed Son's blood to drunken her own soul, if her mind lustful aspirations would have not steal Son's breath to associate her own spirit, he would have not covered his forehead in his bread, that her mouth may be unaware of his life-shifting. He would have not silenced his wrath in his wine, that her heart may be unresponsive of his blood flowing. He would have not shadowed his curses in his water, that her mind may be unreasonable of his truth lifting.